Semi-automatic versus revolver. Let's talk. So when you read through comments, the main comment you're going to get when it comes to these two weapons is, this one never fails, this one can fail. Now, is that a fair assumption? Not really. And the people that say that for the most part are just spreading myth that they've heard over the years. With that being said, 20 years ago and before, I could absolutely believe that you'd have that assumption. You'd assume that a revolver is going to be much more reliable than a semi-automatic. But given the time, the technology, and the way things are designed, semi-automatics have come a really long way. And the people who say you shouldn't carry a semi-automatic into the woods because it might not work, whereas a revolver is always going to work, and that is what they say. Revolvers don't have any issues whatsoever, is what they'll say. Now, the one thing you gotta ask yourself a question of is, if you search on the internet and you look up Smith & Wesson 686 warranty, you're gonna get a lot of videos where people have to get these repaired. I'm not saying they're bad. What I'm saying is revolvers also fail and you have to get them repaired. The same as semi-automatics. I'm not sure where exactly this comes from. I think there's about 30 million concealed carriers in the country, and a large majority of them carry semi-automatics, not revolvers. Now, just so you know, this is clear, as you can see down the chamber here. Boop. Nothing down the chamber. You can see down the magazine well. We have a clear gun. Same thing over here. See, nothing in there. So we're clear. So when we handle these guns, we're going to handle them safely. So when it comes to this, the only time I've ever seen, in my experience, a malfunction with my training, with the thousands of rounds I've put through a semi-automatic. I have 3 Glocks. I've used a Smith & Wesson in the past, M&P, XDs, all the 1911s. All these different guns I've had, the only time I've experienced a malfunction is because of ammunition. I've never experienced, I'm not going to knock on wood because I'm not superstitious, I've never experienced a malfunction due to the gun. Now maybe that's because I buy reputable ammunition. I'm not trying to cheap out on the ammo, particularly with a concealed carry gun. Not that I use this 10mm for concealed carry. Using this right here because a lot of people talk about wilderness carry, bears and stuff like that. So like I said, it's only been because of ammunition that I've experienced an issue in the past. And what I say is, use reputable ammunition. Don't change too much about your gun. Your gun's designed to work the way it works. Now, if you're wanting to modify it, make sure you do research and you train. If you go to the gun range, and this is the other thing, a lot of the people that say revolvers don't fail, semi-autos fail, they don't go to the gun range. They simply don't go, and they just believe these myths. They don't have any trigger time whatsoever, with the exception of going to the range and maybe plinking a few rounds and then being like, I'm good. People that actually go to the range realize that semi-automatics are just as reliable as a revolver. Now, when you're talking about going in the wilderness, let's just talk about Alaska. You could go in a snowy condition, an icy condition. You know what? This right here, this external frame or external hammer, this will freeze. Now, you might say to yourself, well, so can this. This can freeze as well. Well, Grand Thumb actually did a really interesting video where he had a revolver and he had semi-automatics. The revolver failed, froze up, couldn't shoot it. There were actually a few semi-automatics that passed that test. So just to flat line say that this doesn't fail and this does is just an old myth, and it's very irresponsible. So knowing that I've gone and shot, boxes of ammunition through this Glock 20 Gen 5 10mm, why would I be worried when I've had 0 malfunctions, 0 issues at the gun range? Why would I be worried about taking this out into the wilderness? I'm not. I've shot tons of, I know this gun. And the people, for the most part, that comment with stupid comments, they're just simply, revolvers don't fail, semi-autos can fail. They just don't go to the gun range, they don't train, they don't go to gun courses. They're not gun people, they're safe queens. They like to take their guns and put them in their safes and never touch them, and then say they have certain guns and be like, I have these guns, but I don't use them. So old tales, old myths or whatever, they die hard. And that's where we're at right now in relation to semi-automatics and revolvers. That myth of what happened many decades ago in relation to semis when they were really coming into their own, it's just really stuck with them. And that, in my opinion, is why people say what they say. So in my opinion, with the thousands of rounds I've put down range, You know, people are commenting, we probably put like 20 rounds downrange in the last 5 years. Hey, let's go to the gun range and plink. You know, that's not really like training, okay? If you use your guns, you realize that out of the 30 million, like I said, people that conceal carry, they conceal carry semi-automatics because they work, okay? Why would people conceal carry semi-automatics if they didn't work? You know, both situations, your life depends on it. That's why you're carrying it. You're carrying it because you're trying to defend yourself, whether that be in the wilderness or that be in the streets, you know, whatever. Semi-automatics are reliable, and people that go to the gun range know that. People that go train and go to gun courses know that semi-automatics are reliable. Now, I'm not saying they're 100% reliable, just like revolvers, as I stated earlier. Revolvers have issues as well from time to time. Semi-automatics have issues from time to time. They both have issues, and inherently, neither one is more reliable than the other in the modern times we're in. So if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. If you have your comments about this, which I'm sure many of you do, go ahead and put the comments down below. And until next time, later.